So, hello and welcome, everyone. We have Kathy Caprino with us today. It's an honor and a privilege to talk to you today, Kathy.
Thank you for having me. I so appreciate it.
So, the first question, I guess,
I wish we had about 100 hours, Nyan, honestly, but here's some of what I think is going on. Most of us who become managers of people have had no training, zero training about how to connect with a person, help them understand what their talents and gifts are, make sure that they're leveraging those talents and gifts, and helping them become engaged in work that isn't just tasks, but there are outcomes that we are delivering through those tasks. And if those outcomes don't matter to the person, they cannot stay engaged. And, I've read so much about what is wrong with cultures, that first of all, in many cases, people don't feel they can trust the leader. I mean, I had all of this in my 18-year career. And I rose to vice president and sat in leadership meetings. And I remember one president, he was so rude and so cruel to the people underneath him. One time he said to my boss, who was the senior vice president, "Well, duh," when the guy was sharing, "Duh." And I would sit there and I would say, this is like theater. This is like bad theater. So there's zero trust in many cases. The people aren't inspiring. Your leaders, your managers, they don't know how to speak with two people. But more than that, and I heard somebody push back on this, I really think it's our job as managers and leaders to invest in the people that we have, to understand what's going to make you most excited to come into work today. Now, we always can't shape the job exactly for that person. And I've heard people write back, it's not the boss's job to make sure you feel passionate. Yes and no. I mean, I have family members who are young and they're just starting out, and some of them have bosses who are incredible. They train them, they meet with them every 2 weeks. Now, how are we doing? And, to me, you're right where you need to be, or here's something that needs to be tweaked. These people are fantastic managers. The opposite are people that don't touch base. They don't understand what these people, your employees, are going through. So there's a lot of things I've just said. To unpack it, I think that in order to keep great talent engaged, you have to understand what matters most to them, what's a career journey they're going to be excited about, and facilitate that journey. What do you think?
I can relate to it very well. In the sense, what happens, what I feel personally is, especially coming from the tech world, right?
Yeah.
A lot of companies really don't have any kind of a career plan, right? And so what ends up happening is you take probably your best developer or your best programmer, and when he's looking for a career path, you say, okay, here, become a manager. And so now you have a person who's best at communicating with the computer, trying to figure out how to work with, other humans, and you just let them loose. And so, unfortunately, so I can compete.
You're right. And the truth is, not everyone should manage people.
Right.
I write a lot about narcissism and personality disorders and toxic people. And I just did a piece in Forbes, if you're engaging in these 6 behaviors, you shouldn't be managing people. You should not be a manager. So there's a lot that's going wrong.
Right.
And I think, we're out of the industrial age where, just do the work, just crank it out, get it done. Those days are gone.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm with you on that one.
So, in kind of thinking about these questions, sadly, the progress that we're making on this is kind of negligible, if not invisible. I think the number of female CEOs of Fortune 500 companies has gone up from 24 to 33 in the past year. Good, there's progress, but that's not progress, But what I think is so difficult is that it's a complex set of factors that contribute. it's not just men won't hire women. That's just not the case in many situations. But it's a matter of, I think, first of all, in order to get women into the C-level, it has to start from the beginning. We have to be able to identify talent that's rich that we want, and it has to be gender neutral, right? I mean, we have to look at women equally to men. And they have to be nurtured. They have to be promoted, when the worthiness is there. It's the whole pipeline. So I think from the beginning on, the pipeline is broken.
Right.
We're not hiring women. We're not nurturing them as well as we need to. The whole pipeline. Number two, honestly, 20 years ago, men who were in the C-suite had wives at home, taking care of everything. And what women don't want is to necessarily only focus on work. I mean, there's so much research about women, even with very high level jobs and even as the primary breadwinner, are doing something like 75% of the domestic responsibilities. It doesn't work. It doesn't work to have to be doing all that plus your job. Plus there are still gender stereotypes around. Another piece of this is one of the people I interviewed in Forbes, it really blew me away. They're called the behavioral science guys, Joseph Grenny and David Maxfield. And they did a study where they filmed an actress and an actor, a female actor and a male actor, being forceful in a meeting and basically saying, so it was an act. They were acting, but they were sitting in a meeting and they said forcefully, I don't agree with the direction the team wants to go. And both men and women watching these two videos, they watched separately. One group watched the men. They voted the woman, the forceful woman, as not nearly as competent or valuable. Her competency and value dropped dramatically because she was forceful. Now the man's, perceived value, how much they're worth in the marketplace, dropped a little. So apparently none of us like forceful people, and they're not easily addressed and fixed. Does this make sense? Is this what you're seeing in peopleHum?
Yeah, I would say that. I do think the point you made earlier, right, which is, I think if you look at the entire pipeline, you've got to focus at the very beginning. Right?
Yes.
Kind of start getting more women into the workforce. And again, it's more tech is again another industry where we are struggling with that particular problem, right? And what
can I ask you this? In the US, we're talking so much about gender bias in the tech world. It's a severe problem. What came to mind when I thought about this question was interviewing Alexandra Levitt, who is an expert in the future of work. Yeah. And it was about automation and AI and how afraid people are.
Yeah.
And, I have my own business. I'm not in the tech world. I'm not, so it doesn't affect me, I think, as much as some other people who are very afraid their jobs are going away. And I get that. It's a real issue for people, but I see it kind of in a different way. That life. Look at what iPhones have done to our world. It's barely recognizable.
Right.
From when I started out, we had Wang computers. There wasn't the internet except in the academic world, right? My kids can't even believe it. Like, what? What are you talking about? So I think that, as you point out, change is the constant. You've got to get good with it and not get afraid, but look at what the challenges are and ready yourself for them. So I think for many people, it's learning how they can become invaluable. Careers changed dramatically some years ago. People came to me and said, I'm a writer and I can no longer write for a living. I used to be a journalist and get paid, or, now bloggers often aren't paid, or, newspapers are going bust and I'm a newspaper, whatever. It's gone. It's all gone. I don't mean to make fun. It's just we're going to have to get good with rapid change.
Right.
And to me, what's exciting about it, it should make you look at, what do I love to do? What am I passionate about? What am I great at? What do I want to leverage? And what is going to be viable as for the remaining 20 years or whatever.
Absolutely. Fascinating. Wow. Okay. Well, I think we're kind of running out of time over here, but it was great talking to you, Kathy.
Thank you for having me. It was so fun.
Yeah, thanks a lot for taking the time, and I'm sure we'll figure out ways of getting back again and, talk.
I would love that. I would love it. And good luck with peopleHum and everything you're doing there. It's wonderful.
Great. Okay.